Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday morning, ready to do some feedback. This is the show for all of y'all that had things to say about the things we said throughout the week. A couple show notes. First of all, there is no voicemail anymore for Skype. I did open up a Google voicemail. I haven't put the number out yet, but I will put that in the show notes, and we'll see how it works. So we haven't used Google voicemail, so
we don't know.
I guess we'll find out together if this is a good replacement.
Yeah, we don't know nothing about that. We don't know what the white lady, if it's gonna be a white lady, we don't know.
The only alternative we have would be to literally buy an actual voicemail machine and a phone line. So we'll see if we can still find a way to do the voicemail thing.
I mean, them still work too now.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do about that. What was the other thing? And then until the 15th, the sale for the halfway through the year coronavirus annual quarantine sale is still going on till the 15th. People have been signing up. People have been emailing me that don't have PayPal, that need to use something else. People that just need to change something about their account have been emailing me. If people have any issues logging in, whatever, I got all the behind the scenes. I can help you out with that. Feel free to email me, theblackguywhotips@gmail.com. You're not bothering me. This is part of my job.
Yep, customer service.
I want to do it. I want people to be happy with the product. I want people to be able to use it however they need to use it. And so my goal is always to make sure it is as easy as possible. So email me if you have any issues and anything I can do to help. I will try my best to help. The official weapon of the show is
phone chair,
and the unofficial sport
bullet ball,
and bullet ball. Extreme. Of course, feedback. That's where you guys talk, and we have all kinds of ways to get to it. YouTube comments, votes in our polls, comments on our website, theblackguywhotips.com. Comments. This week, I'm going to read some of the comments from Spotify just because I didn't realize you could still leave them even though we weren't with Spotify. But you guys have never stopped leaving them. I went and saw there was a shit ton. And since we're not doing voicemails, I figured might as well give you guys some Spotify comments to fill in the gap a little bit.
Right.
So we'll make sure we do that as well. But of course, one of the main things people do is they go to theblackguywhotips.com. They look on the right hand side of the website, or they turn their phone sideways if it's an iPhone, and the thing pops up and it's like, hey, would you like to support the show? And you can support the show in any amount of money, recurring, one time, doesn't matter, through PayPal.
You can leave a note.
Yeah, you can leave a note, whatever you need to do. And for that, we give people a shout out just for doing that, because we appreciate them so much. So let me give you guys your shout outs for everyone who took the time out to put a little bit of money in our pocket, because y'all didn't have to do that.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
Today's a new day.
New treasures, new my pleasures. Early days of photography. Thank you very much. Marvin B. Yes, Marvin B. J Full with the recurring donation. Mako W. Appreciate you. Nicole F. Thank you. Jonathan H. Corey B. Jeff Joff M. I think I've been saying it wrong for years. Stefan H. Deborah O. Mary H. Allison H. Them H's is getting, they in the building. Michael F. Michael Irvin, the Playmakers. Waist Bead by Sura. Joe H. Another H in town. Let's see. Tyrone M. Call him. Dorothea S. Jason F. Adam S. Mariano. Celeste Vaughn B. And lastly, that was his last one. Thank you, everybody took the time out to put a little something behind our ear and go, what's that? Is that a quarter? That's for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me stop for Karen. Fall on the floor, get the Holy Ghost.
Well, I got to be the one.
I don't have the training. All right, y'all. Let's get to 5-star reviews. We got some new ones. The first one, I don't know if I read it or not, but I'm gonna read it again in case I've missed it. The best podcast ever. I absolutely love the Blackout Tips. I am a Karen rebel, but have officially become a tipper as well. Let's go.
Come on, a rebel and a tipper. We
Come over
see
here.
you.
Every episode has well thought out topics with great conversation, and Karen is hilarious.
Yay.
When she was talking about warding off dogs with her walking stick, I was literally in tears laughing. I also listened to the episode about the origin of Bullet Ball, and man, I was dying. Love you both, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was A. Wilk 2010. Thank you. PYYE Pie or Pie says, love this podcast. They are the best in the business. Rod and Karen are so fun and smart. I really enjoy their insights and humor. 5 heart emojis. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all like me talking about my dog adventures. It kind of make it worth it, because at first I was like, Karen, why you carrying this stick? But then I was like, you know what? Them dogs. No, thank you.
I feel like that's definitely a very black thing. Black people carry sticks when we walk. It just happens. Not I don't carry it all the time with me, but like I'm not unfamiliar with it. Like I remember it's a dark story, but a couple years back, the police shot a man who had one of those walking sticks and claimed it was a weapon. And I feel like black people were like, black people walk with sticks. It's dogs in the hood. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, you ain't trying to get attacked.
Yeah, it's not a gun. It's a fucking stick.
Right, and if they wasn't running up on nobody, I don't see the problem.
Yeah, meanwhile, there's actual like gun nuts walking around strapped to the T, and police are like, thank you, my friend, fellow citizen.
Right?
Thank you. 5 stars from Cheesy Mac, who says, Blackout Tips gives me such joy that when I listen, I get so excited when I see a new show is up. I'm on the West Coast, and I'm behind listening when they first come out. Thank you both for all that you give us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, West Coast listener.
And Viola Chick 8, or maybe it's Voila. I don't know. I don't speak French. I don't know how you spell it. Says, love this podcast. Quickly became one of my favorites after becoming a listener from Keith and the Girl. Karen's laugh brings me such joy. I love everything about y'all and your relationship. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate it. We just out here being ourselves.
Yay.
Okay.
KATG. We crossing over everywhere, ain't we?
Listen, the family that works together twerks together is what I always say. We got comments on episodes. Let's get to the first one. 3085 ironing his cheating clothes was our feedback episode.
That woman.
7 comments. Rona Raphael says, I would like to dedicate this special award to all the kids with middle names out there. Keep believing you're going to be called a serial killer, but never give up. No one will buy your tickets to your hustle. Don't stop. Others will attempt your hustle. Stay on track, because no matter what, we are meant to go through the fire. No. And when the time comes, Rod gonna award you a Frisbee and a second official award of the show. I'm making a t-shirt and a frame of the stars on the sky tonight. We must remember this day forever. We did it, Joe. Play Through the Fire one more time. Love you guys.
Through the fire.
There you go, buddy.
Through the fire.
Abby says that the only 2 Pilates instructors who managed to get certificates directly from Joseph was a black lady. She was also his understudy and made the workout popular. That was in 1967. Kathy Stafford Grant. I was pleasantly surprised that JP wasn't into the Nazi or racist shit for real, judged by his actions. You know, you never know with these whites, especially at that time. Yeah, you never know. That's what I always say. You never know with the whites. Okay? Maybe that'll be the title of the episode, but you never know with the whites. I put it on the TV, I put it on the shirt, honestly. Obvious says, I'm not the biggest camping fan. I can do it for a night, but I prefer a real bed and a door and a bathroom. When we travel with my parents, a bigger group, the best way to go is renting a house with 2 bathrooms. It's also way cheaper this way. The last time the house I rented in the Netherlands for us was €185 per night in a 7-day package for us all. And it had it all, even a sauna. And I love the privacy. The private entrance is also great with the dog. Tanya W42 says, I like the new logo. It reminds me a bit of Tiki Bar TV, which I'm not surprised if you don't recognize. Cue up Karen's who?
Who? Child, yes.
Yeah, I don't know Tiki Bar TV either.
Baby.
Because it was a million years ago and they were super white. I'm normally hotel or bust. an Airbnb type arrangements creep me out, but I'll grudgingly go camping as long as there's a flush toilet. In 2025, for heaven's sake, I'm not gonna do my business in a hole.
Right, hanging food up high and shit.
I admit, I'm sympathetic to the all-woman Blue Origin flight. I grew up watching Gayle King on the local news every night in Connecticut, so it was a hometown person makes good thing for me, and I was thrilled for her. Also, it was so cool to see aerospace engineer and STEM advocate Aisha Bowe and the astronautics researcher and sexual assault survivor Amanda Wynn be able to fulfill their dreams of going to space. I get that a flight that short seems a little silly, but I do believe that it may inspire girls. Sorry for going on so long, but a friend of mine is a dispatcher for an airline and also flies a small plane himself, so his kids fly all the time. This tweet he posted was amazing. I took my 3 kids on a day trip to and from Cleveland for years. I have tried to get my daughter into the flight deck for years. She said no. Same thing this morning. I asked again. She said no. The flight home, she finally said yes. There was one thing different about the flight home. I told my daughter there was a girl pilot flying. Her eyes lit up and immediately she wanted to see the flight deck. The first officer's presence was all she needed. She just needed to see another girl there.
Yes, representation matters. It matters, because your child, this person's child is like, Daddy, I don't give a fuck about what you doing. Oh, somebody else doing it, and ain't you and Mama? Okay.
No, this is not. This is a cute story, and that's a nice try, Tanya. It was a real good try.
Oh shit. Oh,
but it's not gonna work on me. What Gail and them did, not the same as that woman going to flight school to become a pilot. It's not even the same as the other 2 women that were on there, Amanda Wynn and Aisha Bowe. I mean, I don't, first of all, I just want to say, I don't hate that they win. I don't like, that's not my problem. I really think where they fucked up is trying to make people feel good about it. And it's not really, if you want to be honest, it's not really their fault. It's they're responsible because they said yes, but Katy Perry and Gayle King going on that flight is PR, is for the PR purposes, 100%, it's like that season 2 of the morning show. Like, it's to soften the image of Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin and all that shit. And people noticed it. And their response can't be what I would consider a quote unquote honest response, where they just come out and go, yeah, well, we're some rich celebrities. It's not like we're saying we were astronauts. This was some balling ass shit to do. They invited us to do it. They maybe even paid us to do it. And we said, yeah, like,
yes, but like, this is something I always wanted to do.
Yeah, it's just a cool thing to do. Instead, It was like, this is for women. And so now it sounds like you're hiding behind something. And that's why I think the pushback came. Now, will it inspire some girls? I'm sure it will. But to me, I think you can make the same point of like, well, Katy Perry and Gayle King don't even have to be on that plane for it to inspire some girls. You could even make an argument that it'd be more inspirational if everybody on there was an astronaut. Everyone on there was a person that worked within that sphere. This person's a aeronautics engineer. This person's a, like you said, astronautics researcher. I think that's what would have like made people feel a little less like it was just a PR stunt. The problem with PR stunts is they only work if they work. So if you have a PR stunt, or I shouldn't even call it stunt, you know what I mean, PR. Let's take stunt out. Forget I said stunt.
Yeah, just PR. The
problem with public relations is it has to relate to the public. So if the public finds it unrelatable, then
they're gonna reject
it. Instead of us spending like a day talking about how dope and groundbreaking this was, we've now spent 2-3 weeks talking about how it was silly and Katy Perry was making a big deal out of shit, and she was like, and acting, and then acting like she wasn't an astronaut and all this stuff. I think it just made people feel a lot of disdain, especially at a time like now where the government's all fucked up. Jeff Bezos is one of the people fucking the government up, and people are looking at the state of the world and going like, this just feels so silly right now. I don't want to celebrate this. And I just wanted to reiterate, because I think I said it at the time, but I want to reiterate, I would have felt the same way if it was all black people. To me, it's not even about the group. It's not like, well, if it was my group and I felt representation, I'd be like, this is groundbreaking. I still would be like, this is a weird time to be fucking with Jeff Bezos. That's just my personal belief. And it didn't help that one of the people on there is just like Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. Like, it's just, It's a weird thing that feels like Jeff Bezos is using these women as a shield for the fact that he's a horrible person. But Evie says, I cackled at that 5-star review from Appia's parents. It was a great review. I totally didn't believe Appia wrote it. I didn't listen to the haters that said she did. Don't ever change, Appia. We love you. Appia says, thank you. People are so fast to judge. Just because we were together on vacation in the Netherlands and they left their iPad on the dining room table overnight and I know the password is my father's birthday and just heard our host say, grab the phone of your family member and write a review. It's all just a coincidence. Exactly. Sofa King says, y'all, these white people got me fucked up. I was in the, okay, I already could tell this ain't gonna have nothing to do with what we be talking about.
You already can tell this is gonna be off topic.
I can already tell. That's a sentence that says it don't even matter what y'all was talking about.
Don't even matter. Well, I don't care about what y'all say. I got something to say.
You might as well say, dear diary.
These are my feelings.
Y'all,
these are my confessions.
Y'all, these white people got me fucked up. I was in a chat room with some other wrestling fans. See, we talk about wrestling. We don't watch wrestling. And they were all locked in on the elections in Canada. Somebody brought up there not being a true left-wing party in America. And I made the controversial because everyone in the chat at that time was white except me, statement that the reason why America doesn't have a legitimate left-wing party is because of racism. Y'all, them white folks was heated, I tell you, heated. They then spent the next 30 minutes white explaining to me why it was anything but racism. One dude said, the reason we don't have a strongly organized left is because people in this country are too stupid to blame corporations for fucking you at every facet of your life. Another dude said, I shit you not, it was because of the rhetoric. Americans are more susceptible to divisive language, and that's the real reason. I let myself put up with about 30 minutes of that, then went, y'all got it, and Homer Simpson my ass back out of the chat. But at least it reminded me that it was a reason why it had been over 2 years since the last time I let my black ass wander in there in the first place. See, this is not about us. You should have just wrote this to them.
This is a personal experience.
Yeah.
We probably mentioned, something about that, and it was like, I you know what? I got to tell y'all about it.
I mean, I'm sorry that happened to you.
Me too.
That's definitely true. I'm definitely that
a lot of energy.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too good. I don't appreciate that happening to you. But
good for you recognizing and leaving.
Yeah, there you go. Not sure what we're supposed to contribute here. YouTube. Inez says, hello, packing for a trip is I always overpack. Thank you. And I appreciate your comments, Inez. I don't care if they have nothing to do with the episode, because if it's on YouTube, it's just helping the algorithm. The girl on the other side of the road.
Pack too, baby.
The girl on the other side of the road said, I hate to tell you that, but Michelle's podcast is full of gender wars. It's a relationship podcast. She and her brother talk about siblinghood, their marriage, and children most of the time. And I remember the first week they were talking about the difference between men and women friendship. However, I'll never call it a gender war because the podcast is more classy than that. That's how they get you. That's how she got your ass.
That's how they rope you in.
She done poured a little fine champagne. She done poured a glass of wine and did gender wars, and now you don't recognize it's the red table. Provocative as fuck says, hey, what up, Hornet Gang, Rod and Karen? Thank you on this day in White House history that we shall erase the fucking history of. Y'all are my favorite podcast, tied with Karen Hunter, no fucking cap. I love y'all. My mind is depleted from despair until the show end. Big ups to y'all. From St. Louis to Charlotte, we bonded once again. Hey, yo, Rod, thanks for hooking me up with DJ Jaffa. He let me get that track. So, on the podcast 3085, you played a dope track at 122.20. That shit finally, who's the producer? Thanks, bruh. I guess that shit fire. It's only right that I tip, so just consider it the black guy who tipped the black guy who tips. Episode 308. What number are we at? So this is 3085, right? Let's see. Yeah, okay. And you said 122.20. I'll see if I can remember who made it. It might be Infrared Crypto, but 122 sorry, 122.20.
Oh, no problem.
Just trying to help this brother out. Let's see. All right, here's the beat. It started all the way over. All right, let's try this again. All right, let's see. If anything, when people do what do Democrats, he said 122.20. Sorry. So ghetto. We do have some emails though.
Let's
so
go.
Let's get into those real quick. Oh, I think that's called something about help or some shit. Let me see if that's. I think it's called Gonna Help. Is this right? No.
Listen.
I'm not sure who made that one. Could be DJ Jaffa or it could be Infrared Crypto. Those are the two dudes that don't normally put their names on the beats. Normally, if you hear psycho music, he puts his name on every beat, and that's why. So my bad, but I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure next time I play it, I'll try to remember to say who. User Y814G says, I've been listening to y'all for years. Have seen Karen become more confident in herself on the mic and become a comedian in her own right.
Yay!
I've seen Rod go from cubicle Negro to full-time podcaster to TV writer and more. All to say, a willingness to change and grow is always good, and the format/logo thing is no exception. You have to experiment to find what works. We'll still be here listening, whatever you decide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicholas says, normally listen to the podcast, but I jumped on YouTube to comment. When you and Karen began screaming during the Mystical Danger song, I jumped and dropped my phone. I couldn't catch my breath. Thank you for another great episode. Thank you. LHHI Imani says, hi Rod and Karen, I like the new opening. I like your willingness to try new things. Who wants to eat the same meal every meal? Good to switch it up. Just remember that everything is not for everybody. Kudos on all the expansion across the platforms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Exactly. Everything ain't for everybody, and that's okay. You know, we caught you. If you're here because of what we did in the past, then we already got your ass, okay? You done fucked up. So
yeah, and the thing is, you don't never know what your favorite meal gonna be if you ain't tried it sometimes.
yeah, well, you never know. It's all good. Let me check the Spotify comments for this episode, which was Iron His Cheating Clothes. Michelle says, speaking of ads, I love your ad when Karen says, not that Baccarat. I smile every time. I only know Baccarat from old James Bond movies. And Jinkies
And I'm probably mispronouncing it.
Jinkies Deidre says, Nichelle the same. So there you go. You can add each other in the comments now so people can reply. That's dope.
Cool.
The poll, how do you prefer your cheating clothes? Ironed, wrinkled, or I don't wear clothes when I'm cheating? Karen?
Rod, you answer first.
I asked you first.
You answer first.
Well, I don't have one for this one. I don't have cheating clothes.
So see, you don't wear clothes when you cheating then?
Well, 25% of our people prefer iron. I don't know if they make their spouse iron them or they just iron them themselves. 9% think wrinkled. They like, okay, I see y'all. Y'all some bad. Y'all like to get down. Y'all naughty. And lastly, 66% do not even wear clothes when they're cheating, which makes sense.
No evidence.
Yeah. You know, you just walk out the house butt ass naked, and then nobody can remember what happened. All right, let's get into another one of these segments. But first, a beat, and then we'll come back and do another episode. That beat is called Turn, and that's by DJ Jaffa as well. All right, the next episode was 3086, a low vibration establishment. We got 14 comments.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I know that show was off the rails, but I had a lot of fun doing that show, baby.
It was one of my favorite shows we've ever done, honestly.
I had a ball.
It did. I know it didn't seem like we was talking about shit, but like as far as segments,
right? But I had that was a very enjoyable show to do.
Yeah, I gotta try to capture that type of vibe more often, you know, just because I enjoyed it. All right, we got comments. A lot of comments. Sin City, our girl, Sid says, listening to y'all talk about the restaurant was hilarious. Oddly enough, this could have been any of my favorite experiences dining places in Charlotte. People younger than me spend all their time filming. Overly friendly and attentive wait staff give me and my friends anxiety, and then people older than us are always like, what the fuck is happening? It's like they want to be hookah lounges with tapas, but if tapas meant soul food. I order hookah, but put in at least 2 drinks and order food all at once, just vibe high, of course. 10 out of 10 do not recommend if you are actually hungry or think you're about to get a mandatory 20% gratuity worth of service. And okay, new car. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is like, honestly, like no joke. Sid was one of the people I was thinking of when I was in the spot, because I was like, I wonder, because we follow each other on Instagram, and she's here in Charlotte, and so I'll see like her Instagram where she's hanging out, looking cool and doing cool shit, and I'm always like, because I'm not a cool person in that kind of way.
I am a square,
and so I'm always like, like, I don't even know where these cool places are in Charlotte, because they probably wouldn't be cool to me. I need to sit down and be able to talk to you and shit. I'm not a loud music, chill out kind of guy. So, but when we were in there, I was thinking like, oh, just like one of her type of spots. I didn't want to make assumptions, but I was just wondering. But then the next question was, is this the norm?
Right. Is this
or
the
is this
norm?
like how do you even know that one of those spots is bad compared to one of those spots that is good? Like, what is the measurement to be like, yo, I love this joint, but not this one, and they both hookah lounges?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like I said, I'm guessing. I hope they all ain't like that, because that's terrible.
She said she made it sound like it was like that.
That's not good.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like they were doing the thing where the wait, because for the record, I just want to draw a line. I'm not talking about they weren't friendly enough or attentive enough. I'm saying they just never came to our table.
Yeah, it was nobody.
I think that's different, because I've been around, me and Karen were waiters, so we've been in situations where it's like, you get that feeling from a table like, you're crowding me, like we don't need you to come over every 5-10 minutes to check and see if we need drinks.
Right.
Totally get that. We've all had that waiter that we felt was hovering over us, where it's like, God damn, bro, like, let me take a sip. We all get that. That's not the kind of service I require or want. I'm an introvert. I'm very fine with a hands-off waiter that is like, I saw your drinks getting low, let me give you the water or whatever. Come back 15-20 minutes just to check to see, like, boom, whatever. Like, I don't really get anxious about waiters until I'm ready to leave. That's when I'll be like, okay, waiter, you can come over now.
Right.
But in general, I don't like being interrupted. It's fine. So I don't want people to feel like we were like expecting great service and we got bad service, we got medium service. I'm saying we never got served.
We got no service.
And we never saw anyone get served. And we was there a good 20 to 30 minutes, and I never saw a waitress at 0 tables. I mean, if that's what people like, obviously it's in business. It's been there over a year. The parking lot was full. Like, it clearly is a thing where this might be the coolest shit in the world, and this is how cool people get down. I just ain't cool.
Guess you pregame for you get there. I don't know. It ain't for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Justin says, when y'all was getting ready to talk about the restaurant but didn't want to say the name, I was like, tell me the name so I know not to go there. I didn't want to do it for a couple reasons. One, I don't think it's cool to, like, I had a bad experience, and maybe that's the norm. And reading the comments, it felt like the norm. But I've thought it would be more funnier not giving y'all the name. I think it's something that you probably could have Googled some of those reviews we were reading word for word and probably figured it out yourself. But secondly, if you would have been there, you would have known. This wasn't exactly, a spot on the beaten path. It's off the beaten path. You would have known. And lastly, I was thinking that maybe it was just a feature, and so I didn't want to ding them for something, and then people be like, "That's just what the fuck it is when you go to one of these hookah spots."
like this is what you should be looking for. Well, I'm sorry, I did not know that this was the vibe.
Yeah, But I hear you. But then you said what type of establishment it was, and I thought, I would never go to a place like that anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't either. It was just on a whim, and it was we literally didn't know what we were walking into. If I would have just known, like, nah, it's not really. You gonna get plastic forks for a steak.
You don't get a ribeye instead of a steak.
You could have just told me they're giving you a plastic fork and spoon for your steak, and I, honest to God, would have been like, oh, thank you. Like, put that on the sign on the door, and I know, like, this ain't for me. That's fine. If I pay that much money for a steak, I think silverware is the least I could get.
I think it need to be ran through a dishwasher.
Yeah, and I just don't know what. Like I said, I don't know what a bad spot is. If this was the normal experience, then then I guess I would never like any of the lounges. But I guess in my heart of hearts, what I would hope is that there's a lounge or two I could go to and be like, oh, this is chill. Like, I actually, like, the service wasn't bad, and it didn't take an hour for us to see anybody. And you know, I did see waiters and stuff like that. Because honestly, as a concept, it fit me because the music was on point. It was so many black people in there. It was the bottle service girls, because I assume they wasn't waitresses, all had big booties. It was like the kind of place I'd love to post up. Like, it wasn't like a bad spot where I'm like, get me out of here. Like, you know, it wasn't. And I like that they weren't overly aggressive. Like, that's the thing I hate about like Hooters and stuff, is because the whole thing is to look at titties, and then the whole thing is for the waitress to kind of like be like, look at these titties, and the dudes get very weirdly possessive and aggressive about it, and I don't like that vibe. It's just very meat factory strip club-ish vibe of like, you know, be nice to me, bitch. You want this tip? Let me see them titties. And so I don't like those aggressive vibes. So it had a real laid back, chill vibe of just like taking in the scenes, looking at the game on the monitors, and you know, hopefully if you get your food and your drink, that would have been a nice place to hang out. It was just so bad that I was like, I couldn't even hang out here, because it's like it was only 8 or 9 o'clock, but it felt like if we were going to get out of there, it was going to be a 5, 6, 7 hour ordeal, as opposed to like a 1 to 2 hour ordeal, which is fine.
And we weren't about to get no 8-course meal, so the fuck is this?
Yeah. As you can see, also, Karen's not of the right mindset for me to be hanging out with somebody in a place like this, because you see how aggressive she's getting. It was not. She would have been talking to managers and shit. It just wasn't appropriate.
I'd have been with my 1-star review, mad like everybody else.
Yep. Love listening to y'all for restaurant recommendations here in Charlotte. Thank you. We always talk about this on Lip Smacking Good. We do restaurant reviews for part of our you know, episodes.
So we talk about places we tried all around the city of Charlotte, new places and stuff. Roger's been cooking and stuff like that, and it's really, really fun.
It's behind the paywall, the blackouttips.com/premium. You can sign up, use the coronavirus sale, $100 for the year. That's basically $8 a month. And yeah, you get our Lip Smacking Goods as well. Abia says the baby can still recover. I have seen so much racism. Oh, because I said this man baby gonna definitely be racist. Because his baby gonna be racist because the man was racist that was pushing the stroller. I've seen so much racism of the classic racism brand as a child. People in Poland didn't have lots of contact with other cultures, but lots of ideas, like having a character in a series in full blackface as an American exchange student, at least from Harvard. The other characters in this series reacted to him as bad as you can imagine. I remember finding it pretty weird. I was maybe 8, but could not say why. Probably because I was accidentally racist too. It happens. I'm sorry. I had bad influence. Have you heard about the television I watched? This is just one thing of the things I remember, and I'm afraid to search for more in my memory. Somehow it didn't stick. You just have to be a decent person in your heart and ready to question what you thought was normal. And as we learned, that is something people love to do. I mean, listen, there's always a chance that baby might not be racist. The baby could have a rebellious streak and revolt against the parents and all that, but that dad gave me bad vibes, and I feel like a dad
uphill battle for the poor baby.
The reason that I say that baby don't have a chance is because he seemed like a good dad, And that's the worst part. A good dad that is a racist is gonna fuck a kid up way worse than a bad dad that's a racist.
Right, they easy to
bad dad that's a racist. You like, well, you're a bad person and your racism is bad, and I don't want to be like you. A good dad that's a racist. Well, that's the problem with white America now, ain't it? It's like because white people cannot divorce themselves from very fucked up white supremacist folks because at the end of the day they like, but he burped me and he gave me a diaper. And she fucking let me suck on her titty milk. Clearly, this is a good person.
Right.
That happens to hate blacks. You know what? Like, that's what's fucking them up.
Dilemma.
So it was a joke observation, but you know, the baby ain't got a chance. Rona Raphael says this episode's banter had at least 2 movies or 2 anthology episodes of an awesome TV series in the hookah lounge and the car buying experience. As an official the Blackout Tips Award winner, I can tell you when we got greatness nearby. Yeah, definitely. If that buying the car felt like an episode of Atlanta for me. The one with the barber, yeah.
Yes.
I died multiple times laughing in this episode that by the time we got to Vampire Cast and I was exploding when you did main voice, made me cast Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel trying to get in. Unintentionally funny. I can see that.
Yeah, yes.
Tyrese. Yes.
Yes.
Tyrese would absolutely make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock only trying to use his one eye movement. The Rock trying to get in. I guess unintentionally funny. I would laugh at that.
It would be unintentional.
I don't know that he would make me laugh.
I think Tyrese would.
Like Mike Epps would make me laugh 100% just from being Mike Epps.
Cat Williams would make me laugh.
Yeah, Cat Williams would be so good.
Just their presence. When they first show up, you would just start laughing because it's them.
Right. Let's see. The whole Fast and Furious folks, they've gonna be pitching family. Come on, let us in before Tyrese gonna stream. Why we need to be let in? I'm calling Tubi Fast and Furious versus Vampires. Let's go. Talia W42 says congratulations on the new car. Thank you. You know, starting to make little changes to it. I added a Fayetteville State decal to it. I've never put a decal on my car. I know, that's the
first. You are normally like, I'm good. I don't want people bothering me.
Well, I've never put a decal on my car before, but I was like, you know, I want to support my HBCU. And then I got like a wheel cover for it because we keep our cars so long that the sun eventually wears down the steering wheel.
Yeah, it does.
And over time, I end up having to put steering wheel covers over them. And so this time, I went ahead and jumped the gun and got the steering wheel cover now. So, you know, making little changes and stuff is cool. Rona Raphael says that 100 versus Gorilla had me extra rolling. I was laughing too hard. I had to pause walking my dog. My allergies have even stopped. I blame Tarzan for this. I got to sue him too. This has gone too far. Pink Superhero says, enjoy hearing about the strange restaurant. Lived in NYC for 10 years and saw lots of places come and go. I always wondered if places that are really terrible like that are just fronts for something else, money laundering, etc. Trey says, this episode was too hilarious from the restaurant recap to the car dealership recap. Absolutely hilarious. Congratulations on the new ride and thanks for another funny one, Rod and Karen. Peace, Trey.
Mm-hmm.
EVE says, thank you for this palate cleansing episode. I definitely needed it after all the doom and gloom thanks to Dump. I was laughing this entire episode. You two are better than me because after 15 minutes and no one showed up at my table, I'd be out. It sounds like a huge money laundering scheme because usually when there are that many bad reviews, you see a response to the reviews from the owners. These owners sound like they don't give a single damn, but they haven't run into, because they didn't respond. I hear you. But they haven't run into the right one yet because if they keep it up and someone is going to lose their shit and air that place out, whoever decides to go at this point is taking their lives into their hands. I do think it's a matter of time because the place that is located is not like your typical hookah lounge area, like
a downtown.
This is a strip mall. It's not in a happening like sector of like Charlotte where it's like, it's nightlife. And so I do think there's just no way to avoid it. You're going to get normal couples that come in there thinking it's a restaurant.
Yes.
And somebody's going to have a misunderstanding.
Yeah, somebody going to be on. I'm going to bring Eyewitness News on there complaining about them people.
I think a few candidates for Shannon Sharp's Megan Good would be the Reginas, Hall and King. Those are good ones. Everybody love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they will help them get out of it. Sanaa Latham and Taraji P. Henson. I doubt any of them would do it. Yeah, I mean, we weren't judging this on. First of all, none of us thinks any of these women will do it because obviously we would think they were some damn fools. So I feel like we all are on the same page of like, this is what he need, but hopefully nobody will give it to him.
Oh yeah, don't sign up for that position.
I mean, honestly, none of us would have thought Megan Good would have signed up for the Jonathan Majors experience. So
Child, yeah.
I doubt
because on paper it don't look good.
I doubt any of them would do it, but no one would I guess fault him for dating any of them. Yeah, true. A good comedian for a sinner's vampire would be, how did I not come up with this right away? Kenan Thompson.
Oh, he would be great. He would be great.
That's the new number one over Mike Epps for me now. Kenan would be amazing as Cornbread, talking about getting back in there. Let me get $20 and all that shit. The faces he makes are priceless. And another one would be Lunel. Lunel would be good too. That's another good one. Shoe Booty says restaurants like that, I'm guessing they had a very Instagrammable kind of vibe. You know what's interesting? I don't think they had a very Instagrammable type of vibe. Like, I feel like that's part of what fucked it up, is it didn't seem too cool from the atmosphere. Like, I didn't walk in and go, oh man, look at the opulence. The chairs are like these comfy chairs that don't even really have tables. It felt like a restaurant because it used to be one before they changed it into this.
It used to be one.
So I think that might explain it. I wish I had brought that up first. That might explain the confusing vibe, is that it feels like a sit down and eat restaurant with cool ass music and big booty bottle girls, but after a while you realize it's not a sit down restaurant, it's a lounge, and it's like hookah and cocktails and for cool people.
Yeah, and I agree with you, right? It's not designed for a lounge, because we've been in places that are loungy type, and it's not set up like that. Like, you come in those places, you automatically know if you're in or out. There, you'll be like, okay, I'm sitting, for us, I'm sitting at table number 8. We, blah, 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 blah. Like you say, what's going to happen is you're going to get somebody in there who thinking this is a regular ass restaurant, but like, what the fuck is happening? And then it ain't going to, all hell going to break loose.
I remember that movie theater in the Epicenter had a lounge in it, and it had cool music and drinks, and it was real laid back. Now I'm assuming you got you still must have gotten your drinks and stuff in enough time to be able to go into a movie, but like, that's what I'm picturing when I think of this, like lounge vibes. Let's see. She goes on to say, places I see like that, which look too cool for me, end up relying on looks rather than food and service. If you don't have all three of those working together, all the vibes in the world won't keep your business running. One of the best parts about visiting Charlotte was the food. With that much solid competition, you can't play around and have a crappy service. Yeah, basically.
Agreed.
For those of us that wanted to eat, it's like, I'm good. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars for the entire episode. Love y'all. Blessing on the new vehicle. Thank you. Newsy says the job listing for apologizer took me out. Here's a multiple choice question. How long is 15 minutes? I was in not Target cracking up. I hear you, buddy. It's like when I used to eat not Chick-fil-A back in the day. Erica says, I have a few predictions on which establishment you were at. This sounds very similar to a spot I went to. I was pissed about the gratuity being added because the service was absolute trash. I want to support black establishments, but this is a recurring problem. R. Monette says, I have not laughed this hard in a long time. The restaurant and the car buying stories were hilarious. Also, I know that feeling of getting a new car without a new technology. A few years ago, I went from 2008 to a 2017 car. The lane departure sensor kept beeping, so I turned it off. I can stay in my lane without being yelled at by my car. The heat and the cool seats are the best. Enjoy your new car. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm still figuring out shit with the car. Like, it's still, like, I didn't know how to put it in neutral till I went to the car wash the other day.
I'm glad you found out. I wouldn't have known either.
Yeah, I was like, what? It was funny because the woman that was at the car wash, that when I was driving through, she was like, okay, just put it in neutral. And it just occurred to me at that second, like, I had assumed I just flick the switch and it go to neutral. That's not happening. And I pulled the window down. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to put it in neutral. And I figured she must know because she probably gets this a lot. And she was like, yeah, you have to hold the stick and then it'll go in there. I was like, oh, to hold the stick. Thank you. And then
I'm pretty sure they get asked that question a lot.
yeah, then I showed Karen when she got in the car, like, look what I learned, So hopefully, as long as I'm not learning anything that's going to get me killed,
Right.
Now I'm like too late to be like, that's the brakes.
Yes.
And that's what they say. Them's the brakes. All right. 9 comments on YouTube for this episode. Jason says, man, that restaurant y'all went to might actually be a sociological experiment. They're just trying to see how much a person could take. All you guys' idea of a person whose whole job is to apologize had me rolling. Thank you. I came up with that on the fly. I imagine a name tag that says Robert Smith and the job title beneath it says sorry ass. I think Jonathan Majors and Shannon Sharp are a little different because Majors needed someone to make him appeal to polite society again. Shannon would lose a lot of his audience if he did that. He needs someone to keep him ignorant but out of trouble. Nicki Minaj might be a decent option. She kept old boy out of trouble for a while. Anthony Anderson would be a good vampire.
She got her own troubles.
Right? And then, yeah, I think Jason doesn't understand the game because there's no way Nicki Minaj would help Shannon Sharp with his own audience or a new audience.
They might actually make it worse.
And at this point, I'm saying he need to appeal to the same decency lot. So he also needs to appeal to polite society. His podcast audience is not who he needs to be worried about right now. ESPN doesn't give a fuck. Like the ESPN isn't like, oh, as long as Club Shay Shay's all right. To get back into the places he was let into, like First Take, he need to be right with polite society again. So that's my point.
Yes, sir.
He says Anthony Anderson will make a good vampire. Oh yeah, trying to get in. You right. He's very funny. The thick vampire is an underrepresented entity. Agreed. Let's see. Oh, and I had this in the wrong order. Let me put it for newest first. Okay. Rhea says, hey, Rodney and Karen. Rodney, regarding purchasing a car that was previously a rental, I had a really good experience. I bought a 2014 Impala in 2015. At the time of purchase, the car had less than 20,000 miles. The car still runs like a champ with just over 100,000 miles. I have kept up with all the maintenance. It looks good. I gave it to my son when he went to college. That's dope.
Wonderful.
Jinxwell says, LOL at the reviews. I get the frustration, but folks got to chill with this why we can't support black business. When I get bad service at a white business, which is often, I'm going to start saying white businesses have to do better.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be hilarious. You walk out there, white business ought to do better. I'm like, what?
You know what's funny is that, a couple things. The first, with white businesses, I think the reason people don't say that when it's black people getting bad service is that we're like, maybe it was on purpose. Maybe that is the point.
They don't want you here.
Maybe my 1-star review is a 5-star review for what they're trying to do.
Their clientele might go up because of my 1 star.
Right. And with black businesses, of course, we assume that they would treat us well because they want black people in there. But maybe they also could be racist. I don't know.
You never know. I've only left one 1-star review because like I said, out of racism, and I was highly upset. But like this, I was the one, but you was like, God damn, this is a book. Yes, bitch, a whole ass novel. You're gonna get all 5 chapters of what happened.
Jinxwell also says, I feel y'all on the new car. Recently upgraded from a 2007 to a 2024. Felt like I forgot how to drive. Ish was so different.
Don't you feel like you forget how to drive?
Also, I used to work at Enterprise and can also confirm that them cars are in good condition. It'd be rare that somebody would jack one up, and if they did, I know they probably got charged 3 arms and a leg.
Right. That's why when people act like they dog them cars out, I be like, I know you're lying. You have to be, because you're not gonna pay them fees and shit.
Yeah, and you can check like the Carfax stuff from the vehicle and see like if it was in a wreck, flood damage, stuff like that, anything they would have to have had repaired somewhere. But I don't think it's a big conspiracy. I love low pressure sales and buying.
I don't like negotiating.
Yeah, and I don't really like being hustled, and I know that that's a thing for people, and everybody, like, I go to the dealership and they sell me a price and I tell them a price and then we do this and then they say that, I guess I'll work with you this deal. To me, it's just extra fucking time. I just like to know what I need to pay before I show up, and I like to know how much it's going to cost and what condition the car is in. And right now we're 3 for 3 getting cars that that we bought from
they-
a rental car company that sells.
And they have lasted for a very, very long time. We had, and like Rod say, a lot of times they're cheaper too.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Yeah, it's just worked out. So hopefully it'll continue to work out. I'll tell you one thing you don't want to do. Don't join a Reddit about your car, okay? Because Reddit is where everything goes to be negative. Don't join a Reddit for anything you love unless it is like porn.
Yeah, unless it's porn.
It's just a bunch of people saying horrible things about stuff. It doesn't. If it's the Charlotte Hornets Reddit, it's everybody hates the Hornets essentially. If it's the Nissan Rogue Reddit, is everyone who's ever had a bad experience
with their Rogues
with it, and then the other people try to come in and be more reasonable, like, no, this is not the normal experience, this is da da da. Well, I heard Nissan Rogue owners just don't change the oil. Like, what? Well, why would only a Nissan Rogue owner not change the oil? Why wouldn't any other type of anyway? I'm sorry.
Right, it don't make sense.
Don't join a Reddit about it. Let's see. S. Carter Thomas says, my friends and I went to K&K in Chicago when they opened. Same experience. Wait was forever with a reservation, and the food came out piecemeal, literally, for our group of 5. It was around quarantine, so they blamed it on that. But obviously, this is just what they do as a business. You would think by now they would be better at worked out those kinks. Well, I don't know who K&K in Chicago is, but we never been there. Vanyel Lala says, it's so funny because I was just telling my mom that she should be able to tap on the number for her phone to verify whatever site she's on, and she says she never noticed it, but she'd rather input it herself. Yeah, learn something new. Ramsey PH Dunn says, we bought our newest car from Enterprise Rental. It's a great car. This episode, 5 more stars. Thank you. Side Duction says, that banter song gets me hyped as fuck. I'd pay to have it on my workout playlist. I don't know if it's the artist is Isabalu. I don't know if she's ever put it on on Spotify, but she has a Spotify page. So, and she listens to the show, so maybe you'll see banter on there at some point. Christoph says, this episode may have been about nothing, but it was everything, especially the gorilla versus 100 human segment. Thank you. And that's it for those comments. Let's check Spotify real quick and see what they thought. We got 8 comments. All right, so I
have something to say.
Actually go into the episode. All right, let's go to the first one. Queen Melmindy says, y'all's restaurant experience sounds exactly like mine at one of my local restaurants. Seems like some of the new restaurant owners are more concerned with the look and the vibe of the place than actual service. Roxy says, so glad I listened to this episode. Past 2 weeks have been an emotional experience for me. My mother passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. Rod and Karen, I truly enjoyed being distracted by your horrible restaurant experience so much that I'm willing to go premium just to know that terrible restaurant's name. Much love to you both. Well, Roxy, if you go premium and then you email me to let me know you went premium, I'll tell you the name of it. But only you, and don't go out and tell other people, please. Made by the Music says, love that this was the episode. Oh, thank you. Sometimes I get in my head about stuff like this where I be like, we didn't do no segments, where are we supposed to put these commercial breaks? And I just end up letting the AI thing they have do the commercial breaks and hope that nobody gets too upset that they just probably in the middle of sentences. Who knows?
Right. I don't know where they could have been.
Yeah, but maybe we'll do more. I'll try to be a little less in my head about it, and maybe we'll try to do a little more stuff like this. Jay Adamo says, how do you know when the rental car companies are selling their vehicles? I think that's a really smart tactic to buy from them.
You just go to their
their website. They all have websites. Hertz, Enterprise, whatever. They have like a used car sales or whatever. Forget what it's called, but yeah, just Google that. And they have the pictures on the site, everything you get from a dealership.
They tell you how many miles and all that stuff. And like me and Rod just say, haggling ain't my thing. It makes me nervous. Tell me the price. I either decide to buy it or not.
Yeah, I know before I leave the house if I want the car or not.
Right.
Like, and I don't, and it's just don't want no bullshit. That's all. I sometimes I pay a premium in life because I don't like bullshit, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes you just have to be like, yeah, like, I don't think these cars cost too much or I'm overpaying, but I'm just saying, if someone were to be like, because there's always someone somewhere like, you could have got that for maybe you're right.
Do
But
not
if it would have
care.
required me haggling, going back and forth, if I would
Extra
have,
hours at the dealership.
if I would have had to meet somebody in a swamp and off Craigslist, it's just a lot of shit where I'm like, I'd rather just do this and pay my payments that I can afford.
Ain't that the truth?
Let's see. Laj0731 says the restaurant review reading aloud had me cackling. This episode might be about nothing, but it sure was something funny. P.S. Yes, I think you don't see the reviews on Apple from other countries because I gave you a 5-star review from Germany and I thought you skipped over it. Glad to know that's not the case. Know we love you over here in Germany. Oh man, Apple doing it's tripping.
Did they? I wonder did they turn the feature back?
They must have. I don't know.
You have to go to the individual countries.
I don't know.
That sucks.
Sandy says we have the OG K&K in Dallas. It was packed, and my Beyonce voice sound like someone's getting fired. Music Hoarder says, y'all, this is the funniest episode. I'm so thankful. I really needed a good blackety ass laugh. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Recognized Taste says, them restaurant reviews had me hollering. Going to Charlotte this weekend, and I definitely will remember the name of that restaurant forever. LOL. I'm never going there. Well, we never said the name of the restaurant, so you might end up going there by mistake. But if you're in a strip mall and the place starts seeming a little too cool, just run, sis.
Yes, get your shit and run.
Actually, take your time, walk out. You got plenty of time. They not coming to your table.
They're not gonna stop you.
They not gonna come to your table. You can stay there 30-40 minutes. You got plenty of time.
You might as well be invisible.
All right. Let me see if what else we got here. Oh, the poll. That's right, the poll. What is the longest you've ever waited for a restaurant? Up to 30 minutes, up to an hour, or over an hour. Longest you've ever waited for food at a restaurant, Karen?
I don't remember. Truthfully, I do not remember. Most places I don't have to wait that long, or a lot of times if I have to wait long, a lot of times they end up giving us the meal for free, or did like something to kind of compensate, for that. Because I remember one time we had went somewhere and we had to eat at this place very frequently, and I think everybody got their meal but me, and I got my meal last. And I think they end up giving us like a discount and like taking my meal off or something like that. And I think that took maybe an hour and some change or something like that. That's because they were really packed and busy. But other than that, they normally don't
I don't
take
remember
that long.
the longest I've waited. I will say probably up to 30 minutes, because I feel like I remember if I waited up to an hour for food. And I definitely feel like I remember if I waited over an hour for food. It just feel like
it would stick in my brain.
Yeah, it just feel like too big of a number for me to not have. Like I would remember. I feel like I would remember that place for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah. They would definitely be on the list. We waiting that long. Let me go ahead and cash out and get up out of here.
Yeah, it feel like a story I'd tell a lot. To be like, man, one time I waited an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. But let's go look at these percentages. Okay, so 35% up to 30 minutes, 46% up to an hour.
I guess it depends on the restaurant and where you are and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm not big on going to restaurants.
Yeah, places that are packed and crowded.
I'm not big on going to restaurants if it makes me if I see there's even like a long wait to just get seated. Like I'm not big on crowds. Like this is a happening place. I need to da da da. Like that's very rarely am I thinking like that. Let's see. And then over an hour, 19% waited over an hour for food. Wow. Wow.
It must have been absolutely delicious.
Did you go back?
That is a great question. Was it Jamaican?
All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see. This beat is who's this one from? I think this might be Infrared Crypto. right. Let's go to the next one, y'all. Let's go to the next one. The next episode is 3088. It's called, 3087. It's called Commiserate. We got 8 comments. Let's see what we got here. Him Deal says, hey y'all, well y'all, my 10-year-old daughter just last week told me about the text messages and the timestamp. I was trying to figure out when I sent her a text about brushing her teeth, where she was like, did you know you could swipe? And I was like, wow. Also, my wife and I recently bought one of our kids a used rental car, and it was a great experience. So you mentioning buying a car, that was refreshing to hear, because I've not heard of another black person mentioning car shopping this way. Rentals are very well serviced. Appreciate you reading them reviews on that lame ass restaurant. It was funny. Thank you. I'm glad people is resonating with folks, because I remember like when we first mentioned this, there were people that like, and we've had these cars for years at this point, but you know, there are people like, really, from a used car? And I was like, stop and think about what you're saying for 1 second. When have you ever wilded out in a rental car knowing they have $400 deductible that they've already taken out of your credit, and they are waiting to cash it in?
Child, they would love to charge you for that dink.
I show up to the rental place when I return the car ready to fight. Like, I show up with like, that scratch was motherfucking on there, bitch.
Ain't that the truth?
I don't show up like, I'm never like, oh yeah, I can't wait to fuck the gas tank on this and go out 4-wheeling out. Like, I'm not, who the fuck am I, Daddy Warbucks, nigga? No. I'm not smoking in that car. I'm not doing nothing that will fuck that car up. Anyway, Obvious says many people enjoy getting angry and use it to build community. Unfortunately, this kind of community is not really like good. This is like also extreme political movement start here. Oh, how they start. Let's see. This one's from Keith, who says, like you, I agree with most of what Bomani said about Shador. Maybe just not with as much conviction as he has about it. You brought up a good point, saying that some people probably feel differently because they're not engaged in the online race war. So maybe that's why I have to squint really hard to see a race angle. I'm not going to say that race played no role in where he got drafted, because that would be a foolish thing to say. But I really think it was mostly just ordinary football related reasons. I really think people just got swept up in Deion's marketing of his name and the various myths he created about himself, and took what he said about his son's talent at face value, whereas the scouting report on him just said he's an ordinary prospect who could be a decent NFL player under the right circumstances. NFL GMs are wrong a lot, but they aren't usually stupid. If they think they can, if they think they can play, they'll overlook a lot of stuff like Cam Newton. I'm also glad you brought up Lamar Jackson, because I never thought this idea that the league was colluding against him, giving him money, made sense. I think the explanation for that was honestly pretty simple. The Browns gave Watson what was simultaneously the worst trade and worst contract in NFL history, not a hindsight thing, everyone called it at the time, and also not for nothing, but he is black and actually did some shit. Lamar had justified ask for as much money as possible, and the Ravens were like, yeah, we are going to pay you, we just want to pay that, want that contract to be the framework. Yeah, they didn't want to pay him Deshaun Watson money, which basically kind of broke the quarterback paywall for the league. And if you pay, once you pay, which the Browns doing that, that's when everybody should have fucking colluded against Deshaun Watson. But when the Browns did that, they fucked the game up so bad, because in addition to quarterback, that people, obviously better quarterbacks than Deshaun, are like, I want that kind of money and I want it all guaranteed too. What the fuck are they supposed to do? That's what the agent's supposed to do. But there was going to have to come to a point where you were going to have to look around and go, it doesn't matter how good the quarterback is. If we let Deshaun be the fucking test case, we're just going to end up paying quarterback $750 million contracts, and then the rest of the team don't have to split nothing.
Right. Because
we fucked up our own game with this negotiation. So someone was going to have to pay. You know, that being said, I'm more surprised that there wasn't a rogue team that was like the Browns or somebody that was like, fuck it, give him a crazy deal. Like, I would have tried to throw the money at him and been like, fuck it, we'll fix the problem later. Like, fuck the rest of the league. We don't have a quarterback as good as Lamar Jackson, but that didn't work. And I can't remember if it was like they could match the contract, and maybe that was a big part of it too. It was like, well, whoever did offer it was going to end up, you know. Anyway, It wasn't a coincidence that when Hurts got his contract, the Ravens signed Lamar almost immediately after. Yeah, because Hurts became the new litmus test for this is what a good quarterback gets paid. Because we're not going to let Deshaun Watson be the sign of what a good quarterback gets paid because he's shitty and he's not good and he got paid way too much. Sometimes I hate when I disagree with you about sports because I'm like, fuck, that was such a measured and thought out take. But here I agree with almost everything you said. Oh yeah, I fixed the typo for you. One more thing I forgot to mention, last comment I swear, was that people said it was suspect that other GMs all came out and said we have no intentions to acquire Lamar, but it's also important to consider the local media in these cities was asking this question to coaches and GMs. It wasn't like they were proactively holding press conferences to announce it, and while we can't say we know why for all those teams, in most cases they had ordinary reasons why they wouldn't or couldn't give up 2 first-round picks and a contract with almost $200 million guaranteed. It's a good comparison to Shadour's situation for that reason. Thanks, Keith. Yeah, I agree. And like I said, because racism is fucked up and hovers over the NFL and is part of the NFL, I'll never ever fix my lips to be like race played no part in any of this.
Right.
If Lamar Jackson was peak Aaron Rodgers, I feel like one of them owners would have took that shot. So
yes, they would have.
It might not be collusion and it might not be racism, but who they're willing to go on a limb for versus who they aren't definitely is tainted by race.
Right, and also Aaron Rodgers has played terrible for years.
Yeah,
and these niggas is still fighting and arguing and debating. I was like, nigga, he old.
Yeah. Next comment, Shoe Booty says, link us the dongle, fam. Come through for all the baddies with our little Nissan Altimas.
Oh, give me one.
Okay, Karen, shoot me the link.
Okay, I was not prepared for the question. Okay, I'm going to look right now.
EVE says, thanks for explaining the Shedeur Sanders situation because I had no clue, although I've been seeing people talk about it all over social media. Someone even asked me what I thought about it and I didn't have an answer. Sounds like some people enjoying seeing that this privileged kid getting drafted so late and pranked because they don't believe he's earned his place. There could be a racial element involved, but like you said, people are miserable and just love to hate people online they've never met or will never personally affect their lives. Yeah, and that's the thing. I would never argue there's not a racial element involved because it's consistent in everything. But sometimes people let that shit be a cop-out for other reasonable explanations on things. And I just hate when that happens because it's like racism is serious, and the amount of mental gymnastics that people had to take to turn Shedeur into some outspoken, unapologetically black man that was the league was afraid to draft. Meanwhile, all these other very confident, some even arrogant, shit talking black dudes got picked before him. Maybe they just don't think he's good enough, because it seems like when they think someone's good enough, they actually don't give a fuck if they're arrogant. They don't give a fuck if they kill somebody in a situation where they did vehicular manslaughter. They do not care. They will draft that person number fucking 1. So I don't know that I buy that stuff.
Agreed. I sent it to you in the chat.
Okay, cool. The producer chat or the chat?
Yeah, I producer chat.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'll put it. What I'll do, Shoe Booty, because I know you're running a Discord. I'll reply to your comment with the link to this, and then you can put it wherever you need to put it for people if they want to get that dongle. Let's see. Sean says, I was about to write a long statistical analysis of why Sanders' drop was further than expected, but other than Shaw and Milroe going much higher than they should, and Gabriel going much lower than he should, the general order of quarterbacks drafted was statistically sound based on my algorithm, which accurately predicted the performance of the 2024 draft class, with one exception of Myers overperforming. Yes, you can predict how players will perform. Just the GM and the analysts of the NFL do a really bad job of it because they are looking at the wrong data points. Yeah, I don't even know that the GMs of the NFL and the analysts are doing a bad job. I don't necessarily know that that's true. I think a lot of times when we look back at the draft, there's outliers here and there because it's still a crapshoot, and there's also all kinds of variables that we can't see about a draft, right? You draft a guy, turns out he's an alcoholic. You weren't wrong about drafting him. Like, you weren't wrong that he had the skills. He just got to the league and folded. Or you draft somebody like Trevor Lawrence and his offensive line is shitty for 4 or 5 years. By the time you get a good offensive line around him, he may be mentally broken from just the repetition of being hit 2 seconds after he snaps the ball for 5 seasons straight. He might never be able to develop the confidence to be like, I can hold this ball for 4 more seconds.
Right.
My lineman is going to hold the block the way he's supposed to, and he just never gets fixed. We've seen it happen all the time. So I don't know that these GMs are that off. And a lot of times when we look back, it's like, for the most part, they drafted guys where they were supposed to be drafted, especially early. Like, it's like those early picks they normally get. And then the rest of it is very random. It just is. There's nothing you can do about it being random. And one of the problems people have with this league is they talk about it like it's not that random. So it's like Dak Prescott is a 4th round pick who became a great player. We talk about Dak Prescott like he's a disappointment. Dak Prescott he's always going to over deliver on the value that he was perceived to have when he came in the league.
Yeah, and some places would love to have a quarterback like him.
Yeah, a lot of places. But the point being is situation and roster and stuff, somehow these things change on folks. But and then you can just get in the right situation. We've seen quarterbacks where, like, we don't think they're necessarily great quarterbacks, but they hopped around the league until they got to a place where, good wide receivers, good blocking, smart coaching calls. Next thing you know, we're like, Baker Mayfield need to get paid. You know? All right, let's see. YouTube comments for commiserate. We had 4. All right, let's get into these 4 comments real quick. Patrina says, I agree with you about Deion regarding HBCUs. As a JSU alumni, I had to let people know JSU will stand with or without Deion. People should have known from his history that he only goes for his self-worth. Not mad, just acknowledging it. Yeah, Rashad says Chubby Checker had more twist than M. Night Shyamalan. Laughing emoji. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. I am Talisha says, times are hard, riding Karen. Can we pay with ghosts of chickens like back in the day? Jason says, it may actually benefit Shador that he was the second quarterback Cleveland took. He gets to play the Kirk Cousins role, while the first dude they took gets the privilege of starting for the Browns. I'm with you, Karen. I hang on to all my white man paperwork.
Come on, that white man paperwork. Like I said, I'm a little bit better than I used to be. But I used to be like, computers break down, shit crashes, y'all ain't gonna be looking at me. I error, you got to prove it. I was like, fuck that bitch. Here is the shit I signed.
Why do you need white man paperwork?
He goes on to say, hold on, let me close this. Okay. He says, you never know when you'll have a warranty issue or when you'll need to prove you were somewhere else when the murder took place.
Right? It's timed and date stamped.
And let's see, comments on Spotify for creators for this one. CC says, Nichelle says, the Shador Sanders went viral. I ignored it, but even my mom, who doesn't watch the NFL, was talking about it. Even if Shador flames out, he can be an assistant coach for his dad somewhere. We have to curate the content we consume. Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because I think a lot of people will be watching to see what happens with Shador. I think it'll be interesting to see if he gets a chance to play, how far the people who have decided that he is the new symbol of racial animus in the NFL, how far will they take it?
I agree. Yeah.
Because if he goes to a team and he plays and he just doesn't look good, how at what point would you give that up? Where you're like, okay, actually he's not that good and maybe the NFL had it right. You know, because if he's great, then obviously we come back and we do the opposite, right? It's going to be a lot of people going, I was right. it was racism that made them go down that far, which
Right.
you can argue, but I'm not going to argue. But if he's bad, I wonder if you'll see just people, what, they just going to forget about it and move on, or they're going to be like, damn, I guess the NFL wasn't being racist. I don't know. CC says, it's crazy how bad Google search has become lately. I found a search engine that is really great called Kagi. It doesn't use all the AI experiments and brings you quality results. It has a trial run, then it has paid options that are not too expensive. Thanks for the ad.
Ain't that sad? Now you got to pay for real shit
Yeah.
versus it being free like it should be.
Well, that's the thing though, Karen. Should it have ever been free? That's the real question that we
You
have to
know
ask
what?
ourselves.
Yeah, because if we was paying a fee for Google probably would have never went to AI.
yeah, it just makes you wonder.
That's a statement.
You know, because I think that's one of the things that killed journalism, right?
Yes, people
Is that
do,
people,
but
we don't want to pay. We do want it to be free. We want to go, no paywall, click on the article and read. And that was the standard for a long period of time because they thought they could make money through ads, and it's just not working. And so now, you know, we're getting to the point where AI is just stealing their work too, and we're getting it at Google because Google probably don't want to actually. Maybe Google is worth something, but none of us want to pay it. So
yeah, that's true. And the thing is, that site makes sense because it's like, hey, if you want to continue to do this, you know, we can't just continue to do this for free. You know,
Yeah.
like we have to pay the employees. Like people are actually like physical people are actually Google, you know, going through and making sure shit is valid, checking and all that shit, and that requires manpower.
yeah, something. I don't know what the people at Google were doing, but I just know that a lot of times not paying for shit doesn't lead us to where we want.
No, it does not.
What do they say? You get what you pay for.
Yeah, you do. And a lot of times, if you're not paying for it, you are the product.
All right, let's go to the last episode comments. But first, that was called Time Lapse by Infrared Crypto.
That's laid back.
Yeah. All right. 6 comments on episode 3088, Assault and Thermostatery. Appia says, gay and trans people always existed, and if some kind of media should change it, how didn't it work before? Yeah, right. The churches literally told them they would go to hell for it in the past for centuries, but of course they will keep existing. They will just feel unsafe and maybe be afraid to come out and maybe marry people so to be in a straight appearing marriage and make this person miserable too. What a win. And for what again? She says Trump 2028. The good news about it is that he seems to want to have another election. Hey, upside. Why only 2028? I suggest 32, 36, 42, and so on. You get it. He is clearly above death. He will just prohibit it from coming for him by executive order and threaten death with tariffs and deportation. She said, I know it should be 40, not 42, but why not make it 6 years from now? He is so special. He deserves it. Rona Raphael says, look, the only way the 100 men stand a chance against the true silverback is if y'all listen to me. If we only recruit 100 from Waffle House or Chick-fil-A and they still gonna die, but there's a chance that the fight gonna get more legit than before. At the end of the day, my money is always on the silverback, but this is what American version of Kung Fu Hustle would look like if making it. Let me hit up my stuntman, bro. We might have gold here. A friend was making fun of a group of people carrying hammers in a popular TV show, and I had to remind him how many people did he know who got hit by someone wielding a hammer and enjoyed it or brushed it off. I seen a man who I looked at as a giant turn into a baby because a skinny man struck him twice with a hammer to the ribs in the early 90s. Beware the hammer time, folks. They are sneaky than your ex keeping tabs on your socials. Get OSS to shake them off. Lastly, EVE says, I've been so amused with the 100 men versus one gorilla discourse, and I'd say maybe 100 men could eventually tire the gorilla out, but at least 50 of those men would have to be willing to sacrifice themselves for the others to survive. And the way people's fight or flight instincts work, after the first few dudes get their limbs torn off or their skulls crushed, a bunch of them are going to run away. So my money's on the gorilla.
Yeah, gorilla track them down. They climb trees and shit like they'll get you.
And then the comments on YouTube, we got 5 comments. It says, okay, let's see what we got. Hey, R and K, the driver license requirement for immigrants is a new form of poll tax who determines how proficient you are in English. If the person determines you are not proficient in English, now you don't receive a license, which could stop you from voting and making a living. EMK6063 says, so anyone else got a big gaydar ping when Terrence Howard enters the chat? Methinks you doth protest too much. He is very worried about gay stuff, which is very interesting. Damien says, is it me or does politics until we get mad get shorter and shorter these days? It's all good. I was mad before you even got started. It's hard being a government employee these days too. Yeah.
We try. Like I said, it might be one story. It might be 5 stories. And, you know, and a lot of times it depends on what the particular topics are and is. And, you know, it's kind of funny. We're humans too. And sometimes you be like, not today.
Also, like the shorter episodes, sometimes I have shit to do. So I just... No, the truth is we're always angry, and all the politics.
Ain't we
mad.
always? I'm always mad about that shit.
I can pull the trigger on going to the next segment at any point during that, and a lot of times it's just what do we have to do and how long do we have to do it in. Cali bro Mike says, bro, the way Amazon and Bezos bitched up and capitulated when they were going to do something to expose Trump's bullshit tariffs on all of the products, but they were told that act would be considered hostile and political for showing the motherfuckers prices, all bitch made. And lastly, Jason says, man, this episode reminded me once again, there is one group of people above all destroying this world, parents. All the anti-trans, anti-vax, anti-anything different always comes back to parents who are convinced somebody's trying to harm their child. I've seen people in my own life do a complete 180 once they have children. They are the most easily manipulated group on earth, even more so than the kids themselves. You get a group of concerned parents together and somehow they'll create a world where their own kids have less opportunities, dirtier air, less happiness, worse health, but at least no trans kids at the track meet. No wonder they want everyone having kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bars.
And the thing is, kids are always an excuse for the bigotry and shit within themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, I've realized that with a lot of shit, when people are talking about we're doing this for the kids, I don't know if it's because I don't have kids. Question marks start raising. Is this really for the kids? Or is this about you? Like, if I sit this kid down without you and ask, the kids don't care, don't give a fuck, I might not even know what I'm talking about.
And on Spotify, we got one comment. Thank you for being a friend, bitch. And laughing emojis. Thank you. And the poll was, who wins a fight to the death, 100 men or one gorilla? 91% of our audience says the gorilla. 91% of our audience. 9% says 100 men.
Not bare knuckle hand for hand and child, that gorilla crush a few skulls. Everybody act like they big and bad till they covered in somebody's brains. Then all of a sudden that attitude changes.
Yeah, I think the other thing people don't realize too is how gorillas are made. Like they're just like, if it has to be no weapons, gorillas are just fucking impenetrable.
Mm-hmm. You can't bite their skin. You can't cut their skin. Like I don't think people really understand that. They just look at them in the zoo and act like, child, you know that they got that big ass glass. It ain't for the gorilla. It's for you.
They're tanks, man. They really could take us out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to the emails because, like I said, no voicemails this week. Theron, we got one email. Theron says, Rod, like you, I'm always super cautious when renting a car, when renting it for work or pleasure. I go around that car with my agent like my life depends on it. I point out any dents, cracks, scratches, windshield chips, body panel gaps, and paint smears. I ain't getting charged for nothing. I may speed in it, but I ain't taking no unnecessary chances in it.
Right.
And also, like you, when the COVID started, my daughter went to buy a car at Avis. Avis was dumping their fleet and selling cheap. My wife and I went with her to look at the vehicle she was interested in. I was surprised at how low pressure the sales was and how willing they were to repair and replace any issues my daughter saw with the car.
Because they want to get rid of them.
I told the salesman the sale wasn't final until my mechanic looked at the car. He agreed, saying she had a 72-hour grace period to drive the car and get it looked at. Yeah, at the place we went, you get 7 days or 250 miles, and if you don't like it or you find something with it,
just bring it back.
You can get a full refund. My mechanic looked it over and said it was a great car, 2019 Toyota RAV4, and only needed new tires. She has had that car since 2020 and driven from Georgia to medical school in California multiple times a year for 4 years without any issues. So like you and her, my next vehicle will be a rental car sale with my mechanic's approval.
Yeah, and also when the I want to say CarMax people came and got that car, the person was like, y'all take really good care of the car. She was like, it got new tires. They was just shocked at the care. Like, it just need a paint job. But they was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, because when you take, but like this, you take care of a car will take care of you.
Do you know why I'm looking at you?
Why?
Do you know? Okay, so.
Uh-oh.
What was Theron talking about? No, let's just go through it. What was Theron talking about? Us buying a rental car.
Yes.
And what were you talking about?
Us selling one.
Right. And now how does the audience even know that we sold the old car to CarMax? Because we've never brought it up on the show yet.
No, we haven't. My bad.
So what would they know? And then talking about us taking care of the car, what would that have to do with the rental company taking care of the car that you buy? Now you're talking about me taking care of the car that I own.
Yes.
Which the audience has not heard about me selling yet.
No, they have not. And because I brought it up because they was talking about the rental car place, and for some reason my mind thought that would add to it, but apparently it didn't add to it, and it just confused everybody. I apologize, audience.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't mind you talking about it. I just, as a host of a podcast, you had a lot of work you need to do to make those 2 points, because
upfront prepping,
they're
my
not
bad.
connected points, and the audience would not know what you were talking about.
I took a left turn. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make you be sorry. I'm trying to get you to understand, like, that. So now I had to go back in to be like, this is what Karen is talking about. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, I was gonna save it for another show, because why would we do it on the feedback show?
We don't have to. My bad.
We sold our old car to CarMax. I'll talk about that experience hopefully on another episode.
Yes.
In a little bit more detail.
Uh-huh.
But that had nothing to do with what Theron was talking about. So if you guys got confused, it wasn't you.
It's me.
Karen just kind of decided to go with something else that y'all don't know about and didn't really put any connecting fibers between.
I was a terrible storyteller. I wasn't linking this story together. My bad.
So that y'all didn't miss y'all missed something, but it wasn't your fault.
No, it was
Karen just didn't say.
It was my fault. I skipped over a whole chapter.
Yeah, so rental companies taking care of their cars, I think, is a good thing, because they have to do the oil changes and all that to keep everything up to inspection.
Yeah, and I think that would make me think, well, we take care of, but like you say, it ain't really got nothing to do with each other. Yeah. Or I should have explained it better so that if anybody listening to the story would actually link it together so it would make sense. Okay, that makes sense, sir.
No problem. Yep. All right, let's end this. Thanks everybody for listening. I believe so. We're going to Kendrick Lamar concert tonight, but tomorrow we do have an episode. We have a guest. Shanna Christmas is her name. And we'll be talking to her. I want to say it's in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon tomorrow. So we'll talk to you guys then. See you in the chat for those who listen live. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too. Mwah.
Bye, everybody. Have a good rest of your night.
Peace.